Hey, my topic analysis paper was on subliminal messaging in advertising. And basically, it's like we have a bunch of companies that, in some sort of way, control our minds when it comes to watching their ads on TV or even going through a store, a grocery store, or small chain store. There's always some kind of messages that are going to be given to us at a subconscious level. And they want to take control of our minds so that we can purchase, more products or get their product out there. And next time we see that product in the store or online or, any kind of thing like that, then they are trying to sway us to buy their brand when, like, say, for instance, a Red Bull. You see the commercials on TV a lot where, Red Bull gives you wings. And they always show people down and out drinking a Red Bull, and all of a sudden all their problems are gone. And they're just flying away with little angel wings, all cute and pretty. So in their attempt, they're trying to get us, when we go back to a gas station or even a grocery store, that when we see the Red Bull, that we'll automatically think, oh, that's going to give me a pick-me-up. Well, I am kind of feeling down today. I think I'll grab a Red Bull and drink that. But subliminal messages, the definition of subliminal message are those subtle messages, either auditory or visual, that advertisers run so fast or at low intensity that the consumers do not have conscious awareness when these messages are relayed to them. And then you get into, what was the early forms of subliminal messages, like the pioneers, so to speak. And in 1957, we had James Vickery. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not. He was a marketing researcher in advertising, and he flashed the words "drink Coca-Cola" and "eat popcorn" at a rate of 1/3000th of a second every 10 seconds in a movie in a theater. And it was said that, by his calculations, that the popcorn sales went up 57%. And then Coca-Cola was up by Coca-Cola sales were up by 57%, and popcorn was up by 18% during a 6-week period in 1957. And it just so happened to be that he came out, or when he did this research, so to speak, that it was the same year that the book Hidden Persuaders was released, in which they were using subtle images and auditory sounds to own consumers and really doing research into that area of psychology. And then we get to the psychology of it all. We're all familiar with songs like the Beatles or Led Zeppelin, there's certain track, even Ozzy Osbourne. You play the music backwards and it's a satanic message trying to, persuade young people to go to Satan or, at least dabble in some kind of occult practice. But in this case, we're just talking about advertising and the way that stores and chains and brands use the subliminal messages. And they say a lot of it has to do with the mood that one is in when they see these subliminal messages. And if they're in a good mood and they're paying attention to it, then the chance of them purchasing something is at a greater level than if the consumer is in a bad mood or seems not interested in the program where it is being shown. Then they're not going to want to buy the product. And then you talk about how engaging the programming that we watch and keeping our attention it's the same way that the grocery stores do it, by making a little confusion if you don't know or whatnot. And then if we're tired or our focus shifts, we're not going to see the subliminal messages anyway. So then we look at the word subliminal stimuli in neuroscience and cognitive psychology is used to refer to the stimuli below the individual's absolute threshold, so there is no conscious awareness of this. And the companies they know that they don't have the time to run all the stimuli at us at once, so they rely on embedding the consumer's brain over time by the consumer seeing the advertisement multiple times in order for them to have the information stick in their subconscious. And for it to be effective down the road, the messages must be stored in long-term memory after a few exposures. And no matter what kind of content is to be stored, either simple or complex, one's brain must put together a sort of puzzle to be able to recall the information at a later time. And then this evidence indicates that human unconscious can perform various high-level cognitive functions that might allow decision processes to benefit from subliminal messages. And people they think that they're making a conscious effort to purchase a certain item or decide to go buy a car that they had, seen on TV, when in reality it's really the advertisers that are making the choices for us. And then we get to the effects of subliminal messages on the consumers. And we see these every day in television and radio, but also small retail shops and grocery stores, like I hinted at earlier, will do these tricks to where they depend on foot traffic from a broad spectrum of individuals daily to survive. And our senses take over our intent in buying, and so when supermarkets will switch things around in the store. Like if I get used to say spaghetti sauce on aisle 5, I get used to that. Well, they're trying to push another product that's on aisle 7, and they might have a big display or end cap along the way on your route, so they change it up in order for you to confuse the consumer, and thus making you spend more time in the grocery store or the retail shop to be able to, hopefully spend more money the longer you stay in the stores. And there are plenty of ethical concerns as well. The political side of it, they think it's okay. I mean, we've seen that from, Uncle Sam Needs You commercials back in the day. I mean, I don't see those anymore like I used to at the frequency. Say I was a small child right after Vietnam War was over with. And I remember those still, the draft and all that, you had to sign up. But anyway, but then you got the people that say, well, this is just a way of people or advertisers or companies to be able to coerce us and to influence and buying stuff that otherwise we probably wouldn't buy in the first place. And they work on impulses of these buyers, and they kind of prey upon us as consumers. And then, they pull at our emotions. They use different tactics like the confusion, or keep us in the store longer by changing something up. And they're far-reaching and disturbing when you think about how these messages are done and how people are always preying on us. And, I threw in a Bible verse, and it's just, without counsel, plans go awry, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. And then it's basically saying to me that you should, if you're going to plan on making any kind of purchase, it needs to be done ahead of time with your spouse or somebody that, say if you're going to buy a car, you obviously need to talk to your spouse, but even I say you have to set a limit on a certain amount of money, and then you talk about one another and make that decision as one person. So there you have it. This is my presentation for subliminal messaging and advertising.